let's see if they will be available, then they will join. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Shashwat, you can continue.
Okay. Yeah, so in the last session, I had just simply given one walkthrough, then Basha had recorded. So, so the basically what currently the API team we have it in our project. So they are building a third another layer in between our data and our UI. So API is nothing; it's just a interface, we can say, or a gateway, so that two softwares can communicate with each other. So in a very layman language, this is the definition. Like API is used as a gateway to communicate between two softwares. So usually when we have a client and we have a server, right? So client is nothing like let's say I'm using my personal machine and I want to browse some website or something. So my machine will be called a client, and that server will be that particular website's database, and backend will constitute as server. So what happens is, let's say, what is the purpose of API? So the purpose of API is basically one is to secure our backend. Let's say a third party is there or a new client is there or a third party is there. They want to create their own UI or interface. So they want access to their backend, to this particular backend and server database code. They want to have access, but that is a little risky and not secure. So that is where this team, they will create one more layer in between client and server API, so that this team can access the API rather than accessing the database directly, or the backend code directly. So that new person will access the API, and this API will access the database. So that is how it is currently. And if I go to the previous code which I had given walkthrough, so this is a simple API. In this API, so I was explaining like from Flask, import Flask. Flask we have to import. This is a framework, Python framework. And then there is one more called Flask RESTful. So in this Flask RESTful, we have two modules. One is resource and API, which we need to import. And another thing which I had explained last time was app equals to Flask underscore underscore name underscore underscore. So what it will do is we are passing the current module name to this class. So then we are getting the object, app object. So how I will give the demonstration also for this, I had created two scripts. So let's say there is script.py, right? In this only I'm printing underscore underscore name. So if I run this, so you see it is printing name. So whenever we run the script directly, this underscore underscore name gets assigned to underscore underscore main underscore underscore. So this is a dunder method. And if we are importing this module to some another module, let's say there is another script I have created and I am importing this script, script.py. And then if I run this another script.py, so it will return the name of that script. So initially it assigns the name of this module, but if we are running it directly, then main comes here. If we are importing and then running, then the name of that module will come inside this. So that is what is happening here. So it is taking the name of that module initially, and then this API app we are passing to API class and getting the API object. So this is a wrapper class. It takes the object of another class and then adds some more functionalities to that object, and then returns a new object. So we are getting a new object API. So this is how it was. And then we had created one class called hello world, because we just wanted to return a simple JSON object. So this hello world should be inheriting this resource class. So resource is nothing, just let's say when we create any profile, right, in LinkedIn or Facebook, we create a new profile. So when we hit the URL there, like www.linkedin.com/ our username. So that username is nothing but the resource. We have created one resource in LinkedIn or Facebook, let's say any website, we create a resource. So this is a resource class, and then I have created one simple get method I had created, and I had imported this. I had written this hello and word because in API there is a JSON format which is universal because we are using REST API, and REST is a protocol. So this protocol accepts JSON format like we have in browser HTTPS for protocol. Same way in API we have different protocols. So one of the protocols is REST. So we need to add this particular API to uh, we need to add this resource to API to our API, and then we need to create a route. So route will be, let's say, the parent URL, base URL slash whatever routing URL we want to give, that we can provide in. So that is how, if I run this code, so it is running on this. Like Postman is a API testing tool. So we have basically four CRUD operations in any REST API: get, post. Get is for fetching all the any data. Post is for posting or creating a new resource. Let's say we want to send the data, like let's say we are filling some form, so we are sending some data. So that for that post is required, and to fetch any data, get is required. Similarly, to update any data, put is the function, and to delete we have delete. So to delete any resource. So if I copy this link, so our URL was get data. So I am able to retrieve that information which we are returning through our function. So this is a basic Flask API which I had explained. So today I will create a one more file. In this one, I will copy this part is common. So like in our project, we have multiple metrics, right? Metrics are there. So if I have currently, I'm not creating a database, just I'm having one table. So this table will look like something like this. So it will be a list of dictionaries. So let's say uh, name of that metric and the metric name. Let's say lost batches is one metric, right? And second, let's say if I take the name of metric is forecast, one metric. So it's also this is be a list of dictionary. So similarly, like we had created one resource, right? Same things will copy.
Kashmir,
Yeah,
I mean, uh, this is part you are explaining. So
yeah.
can you, can you explain us how this API is going to interact with our database? Because me, Nishi, even you, Basha, and Moshe and Shivani, we all are working and we are delivering our efforts still in some database.
Correct.
ADLs or Azure. So, can you please shed a light on how this API is going to interact with our database? So that would be, draw a much more clearer picture.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So let's assume this metrics list which I'm providing, right, currently, because I
Hmm.
have to explain many things like model and all. Also, I have to explain here many imports will be there. So currently, that is why I'm not going to that. But later on, I will modify it when once this is completed. Then I will modify, and then instead of this metrics list, I will create one database here. Okay.
Okay.
So you assume like this is a database, okay, and in this
Hmm.
database, data will be accumulated. Or for convenience sake, I'm having a list only. Okay. So this list will contain, like say, different tables will be there, right? Table and so it in our REST API, JSON object is there, right? So in every JSON, every data is tagged to a header. So let's say table name or metric name. Metric name will be a tag, and these will be our tables or metric tables, like that you can assume currently. Later on, well, I'll walk you through this entire CRUD operation, then I can modify this. But in starting, if I'll show you, then it will become a little complicated. So metric name, if I take and get, yeah, we can pass it, create. Uh, yeah, so this tag which I am giving, right? Name I want to give associate. Let's say table name or metric name I want to give. So this should be passed as an argument inside every method of that particular resource. So this name will be here also. Yeah. So let's say if we want to fetch the name of a particular resource, so if uh, we- matrix is the R table, right? So if it is found, then we will return. Just a second. This is stuck here. Yeah. So we had this done. Yeah. Yeah, so we will try to find the metric in metric, and if matches, then we will return it. If metric, so we will return the JSON view. Similarly, let's say if we want to return something. Yeah, of course. So what we are doing here, let's say the user will pass one JSON, right? So it will have the name as the key and the value of that metric. So if we want to append that particular dictionary in this particular list, right? So what we are doing is we are having that list and appending that particular dictionary, which is passed by the user. So user will only pass the name, right? Label we are giving by ourselves. So user will pass the name of that metric. You can, let's assume like in OPM, we have many tables are there, right? So API team, what they are doing is they are tagging a label to each and every table of our database. So in you they what actually they have is if I can show you later on that code. That code is also very splitted in different modules. So if every table is one key of one dictionary. So like it is like nested dictionary. So one table is the table name is the key. Then we have a dictionary of columns where value is the list of all the row parameter. Let's say row values there, right? So in data frame, you might have seen there is something called row it returns row and then value one comma value two. So same way they have created. So this is a very basic thing which I am trying to create. So what I'm trying to create, user will pass the name of a metric and then this metric name I will append to our this particular database, you can say, or dictionary we are creating. So later on, when we'll create a database, it will be fetched from a database and it will be appended to a database when we'll have a database there. So this is how they have created one post, but post is not not relevant for us. For us, the most relevant thing is get, how they are fetching our particular uh, data from our database. So this is one, and then wait. And same way, if you want to delete, so similarly, we'll also use the gets get get method only. Only the thing is here, instead of returning, we will, if it is matching, then we will pop that particular uh, resource. So let's say we have found this. If it is matches the name, then we will do fix dot pop. Yeah, and pop for popping, we need index also, right? Index comma metric enumerate metrics index. And we can return something like delete successful. Yeah, so here we can give the URL. Type, I'm giving string type and name. So
Shashwat,
get
this
is
URL
done
is
post.
customized, Shashwat, that we can give anything. The URL which you are giving, right?
No, no. So URL, why I will when yeah, see this URL name is mandatory because name we will pass, right? In every
Yeah.
while creating the resource, this name we require. Because
Yes.
when you want to create a new metric, let's say, you will pass the name of that metric through API.
Yes. Yes.
And if you want to fetch that, let's say metric also, metric name, then also you will pass that name. Or delete also, you will pass that name, right? So it's like
Yes.
a,
Yes.
yeah. So that routing should be present here. So that's why you can give the data type. and the name of that particular parameter which you want to pass as a route in the route itself. So if I run this, Python CRUD API.py. Yeah. So now if I run this, then it will not, it will show not found because get data is no more the thing. Now let's say if I search lost batches, right? Currently it's not in our database or in our table list, right? Because our table list, if I show you, it is empty currently, right? So it should not return anything. So yeah, so it is returning null. Yeah, and here I will add one more thing. So let's say if this metric name is not found, right? If it is not found inside this, then what we can return is we can return something name. Yeah, now it is showing null. So if I try to use post and I want to add this lost batches to my metric, so yeah, I will send this request, and now name lost batches is added. Similarly, I will add one more forecast event. Yeah, forecast event also added. Try to get lost batches. Yeah, it is returning, right? And if I want to delete this particular resource, then also let's say if I delete successfully. Yeah. So resource I will create. Let's say we want to return all metrics, right? So same class I will copy. So when we don't require all this, only all metrics we want to return. Return so metrics. Okay, so all metrics will be returned by this, and I will add this particular resource also to this thing. So same copy.
Shashwat, one
Yeah.
doubt here. So here, if we create any list or any any database, so if we add any particular string from the postman, will it present here? Let's say in our list we have 10 elements. So you have added one new element from the postman. So
Yes.
the new element we will get here or not?
Yes, correct. So new element we will get here.
Okay.
So they have created actually in the API which they have created in our API team in JNJ. So they have this facility of adding platform names, bucket name, all these things. They have this facility in API, so they can do this post thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Understood. Okay, thank you.
So they have connected with our database, right? And they can do modifications using all these methods. Let's say they want to delete some resource also, they can delete. And they can post also, get also. All these operations they also can do on our database through using API. So
yeah, but that will not be in the same table, right, Shashwat? I mean, like our tables, data side, whatever tables we have created, they will have only read access, not to write or delete something.
I mean, they might have not created any such API that will alter our data machine. So they have not created anything, only like bucket kind of things they have added. These things, platform, these things they have added. Mostly they have get only 2 or 3 post methods they have in total. All of them are get, and they don't have delete also. So delete also they have just for those only, for which they have created post method. For those only they have created delete also. Let's say comment is there, right? Comment, some commenting is there. So for that they have added. So let's say
And, one more thing, like this metric you are using, right? As a variable or something. So is there anywhere it is defined or how it is?
See, just now, yeah, metric. Yeah, I have defined just now, right, Nishi? See, I'm defining the URL. So which resource will be accessible by which URL? Okay.
Okay.
So let's say metric name, I want to access when the user will have base URL / metric / the name of that metric. So then only they can access. And whatever methods I have defined, only those methods will work. Let's say if user wants to user uses post instead of get, right? And he wants to add something, but that method is not present in our program. In our module. So that will not work. Just now an error came, right? So it will throw an error. See, this metrics, we have not added any post method. As you can see, only get method is there. So in that case, it will not allow to do anything. So this method is not allowed.
Got it.
Only get will be allowed in this case. Yeah, something I have done some mistake. Okay, this name
you have to pass.
Yeah, this I don't require. Now first I have restarted, so I will add that metric once. Patches. So if I do get, it will not show anything because just now I restarted. So in database, when we'll have, then it will be stored. It will not, it will be permanent. But currently I am using this list, right? So it is getting refreshed every time when I'm starting the program. So now those patches added. Flask. Also added. Forecast resolution. Now, if I just fetch the all metrics, let's say all metrics I am trying to fetch using get. So then it will return the list of dictionaries. So that's how this API team is getting all the data. So they will get like list JSON object of this kind of key value pair. So key will have the metric or whatever tag they have. Let's say scorecard metric, and inside that values will be the list of all the other details inside that particular metric name or metric table, whatever is there, they are getting all the value. So actually they have like nesting inside this also. So they'll have one more dictionary, and then inside that also they will have many objects. So this is the demo. So later on, I will add this model part, because there is one more thing I need to explain before going to that database actually is there. So that's why I have not explained, because this is simple, right? You are getting how API team is fetching the data, posting and deleting some of the data from our database. So let's assume this is the database. So that is how they are adding to that particular database all the data, and how they are fetching. So something is existing in our database, they are fetching in key value pairs. So next time I will explain that part. Model thing, how SQLite DB or some other database we are appending here, and how we will define some tables here, and then actually it will be a lengthy thing. 2-3 modules will be required. So that is why I'm breaking into parts. So first I explained API, then uh, basic API, then CRUD operation, how which method is used for which thing. So this is a how routing is done. So let's say this is how we are adding the routes. So once we will understand this, then yeah, database I will integrate it. Yeah, that's all. Any question you have regarding any line or any code
Yeah, yes,
part?
yes, Shashwat. So Shashwat, regarding this URL, so
Yeah,
string and name you have mentioned, right? Is it
yeah,
mandatory that we need to mention the data type, or
yeah. Let's check here only.
can
Then
or we can customize that without giving any greater than less than symbols? We can give any name, or particularly that variable
no, no.
name we should give.
Yeah, this should be the name only. Whatever parameter name you are
Yeah,
taking,
parameter name. Okay,
that
okay.
should be the route name also. So
Route
then
name.
only it gets embedded to that, right? And then only it gets
Hmm.
inside these functions.
Okay,
So it is like this API resource class method, sorry, what it is doing,
okay,
this particular name, it is passing to a resource, whatever resource we
okay.
have created. Metric name is the resource, right? So it is
Mhm.
giving to
Okay,
that, and then inside that class, whatever functions are there, so those who are leveraging this particular name variable, they will get
okay.
this name parameter here.
Yeah, so basically the below method is the method which calls the above methods, correct? By passing the parameter.
Correct, correct.
Yeah, okay, okay, understood.
Yeah, correct. So
Yes, we'll
API
leverage that.
object, we are adding this particular resource,
Mm.
right? So
Yeah,
let's say last time also I had explained like let's say we are creating one profile. So in that profile, if let's say your username is your resource. So in that
okay.
username, what we do, we when we open the profile, we get the data, right? Using your name
Yes,
of your profile. So you let's say your
yes.
name is Basha, and it is taking your name, and this will return whatever data is there in your profile. Okay, it will return. So let's say if
Let's
you
say we
want to
can
add,
assume results. We will
correct,
give hall ticket name. So it will give the result, corresponding result
correct,
from
correct.
the result database.
Yeah, correct. So we have a profile. Let's say profile is one kind of resource, and then using that name of your profile, they are returning whether your profile is existing. So then it is checking that existence and then returning. If it is
Okay,
not present, then it is returning null. So in
okay, Shash.
Python, null is
Understood.
denoted by null. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that is how API team also they have different URLs for backend, for platform. They have different URLs they have created, and through that. So why
yeah. You have
I'm
worked on
making it,
Swagger
because
also, right, Shash?
Swagger also I need to explain. Yeah, but to
Yeah,
explain
but
Swagger, first I had to
the way of
explain API.
implementation is similar to that. So the implementation you have showing right now. So
Yes,
is it
currently I'm
similar to
showing.
the Swagger also?
Yes, yes, correct. So when I'll
Okay.
create docstring, right, of this particular uh, Swagger is nothing like I am using Postman, right, currently.
Yeah.
Postman is one tool. So instead of using this particular uh, tool, we can go to our browser and we can hit that using Swagger only. We can do all this get post and everything.
Okay.
It's kind of documentation. So in Swagger, it will show some description also here. When I'll show you, then you will understand. So it is like Postman only. We will try to send the request, get the response.
Okay. Okay. Shash.
Yeah. So
Understood.
instead of depending on Postman, they have created their it's customized, you can say, tool, testing tool for API. So basically, my task was not to create any API. Those things they had created, they by themselves only. My task they had given to create this Swagger, which is nothing, just observe this particular API, how they have created, and then create those doc strings so that Swagger will appear. So let's say uh, I need to create get also, post also, delete also in that Swagger, and what response it will send. So this kind of thing I had to create. So once I will walk you through the database, then I will show you Swagger also after that. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
That's it.
Thanks, Ashwin, for the session.
I watched the previous video also. Actually, previous video was not planned. We had just